When NIST introduced Special Publication 837 Revision 1, it was a major step forward to organize all of the government agencies on one program to certify that systems are operating as expected with the correct security protections in place. Revision 2 expands on that and makes it even better. This topic will talk about the updates to the RMF in RMF version 2. In this module, we'll be discussing the differences between RMF version 1 and the updates in RMF version 2.0, essentially highlighting the benefits of moving to RMF 2.0. RMF 2.0 picks up where RMF 1 started in emphasizing risk management by promoting the development of security and privacy capabilities into systems throughout the system development lifecycle, or the SDLC. And we saw this in Revision 1. The big thing here is we see the alignment with 853 Revision 5, where we're bringing both security and privacy capabilities together in one process. This revision, also implementing the RMF, allows organizations to maintain situational awareness of the security and privacy posture by providing near real-time information to facilitate decisions regarding the acceptance of risk to organizational operations and assets, individuals, and other organizations from the use of their operating systems. So we saw that in RMF version 1, where we want to provide leaders with near real-time information on the risk posture of the information systems that they're approving or have approved in the past. That's why we have this concept of ongoing authorization and continuous monitoring of systems and controls. The monitoring of the controls gives this information to leaders so they can make risk-informed decisions on whether these systems should continue to operate. The RMF also provides a repeatable process designed to promote the protection of information systems commensurate with risk. That means we protect those systems that are more critical, that contain more valuable information, that are more important to the business. We protect them with a higher level of security protections and normally a greater number of controls that are implemented more effectively than those low-impact systems. And this balances on the need to implement information security cost-effective manner and based on risk. It also emphasizes organization-wide preparation that's necessary to manage security and privacy risks. It facilitates the categorization of information systems, the selection, the implementation, the assessment, and monitoring of controls, and the authorization of information systems and common controls. We've seen that. That's the basic steps of the RMF that we've seen in RMF version 1. It promotes the use of automation for near real-time risk management through the implementation of continuous monitoring. We saw that as well. That's keeping track of your controls, making sure they're doing the things they're supposed to be doing, providing the output they're supposed to provide, providing the level of protection that is required for the information system. We've seen this in version 1. The RMF also encourages the use of correct and timely metrics to provide senior leaders with the necessary information to make cost-effective risk-based decisions. We talked about that a little bit earlier. It facilitates the integration of security and privacy requirements and controls into the enterprise architecture, the SDLC, the acquisition process, and systems engineering processes. And we've talked about that in earlier topics, how we have to integrate security and system engineering into the SDLC. That ensures we're integrating the implementation of controls into the development of the system. We're not trying to staple those controls on at the end. We're integrating them. We're building them in from the very beginning of the discussion of the system we're building. It connects risk management processes at all levels of the organization. We know that's the organization, the mission, business processes, and the system level. That's our three-level pyramid. That's our tiers of leveling in the organization. It establishes responsibility and accountabilities for controls implemented within a system and inherited by those systems. Obviously, we're assigning responsibility and accountability of the controls being correctly implemented, and we monitor that over time. As you know by now, there are 7 steps to RMF 2.0, and that's because of the new prepare step. So the steps are prepare, categorize, select, implement, assess, authorize, and monitor. If you've been around in RMF 1, you'll know these used to be identified by a number. We would say step 1 or step 4. Now we'll identify these by their name, and NIST has went away from the numbering scheme they used in the past. Now let's talk about changes to the RMF. RMF 2.0 is the first publication to fully include integration of privacy risk management into the existing information security risk management process. The update also includes direct references to the cybersecurity framework, demonstrating how organizations that implement the RMF also achieve the outcomes of the cybersecurity framework, or the CSF. So there's 2 really big things to talk about here, is that integration of privacy risk management into the RMF. And again, we see this with the update of NIST 853 with revision 5, that integrates the privacy controls into the control catalog. It moves them from being an appendix into the full catalog. It also creates supply chain management, that family as well. Also, this slide talks about the integration of the cybersecurity framework, or the CSF. The CSF uses the same exact controls as the RMF, and where the RMF is aligned with the development of a system, the CSF is aligned with the attack kill chain, or in better terms, trying to stop the attacker as early as possible in their attack, but being able to track them throughout their attack process. So as we talked about, one of the big additions to RMF 2.0 is this prepare step. And a lot of the tasks have been there before. They've been there since RMF 1, been kind of implied in other tasks. They've been kind of implied in other documentation. They've been actually specified in some tasks and other documentation. And it's the things that the organization has to do to be ready to start implementing the RMF process at the organizational level. It's also the things the system owner needs to do before they really start integrating the RMF for their system. So the prepare step is one of the key changes to the RMF. It was incorporated to achieve a more effective, efficient, and cost-effective security management and privacy risk management process. The guidance in the prepare step was previously part of other existing NIST publications and other steps in the RMF. So we moved some things from later on in the RMF to earlier, to getting ready for the RMF. And we brought things in from other publications to be ready to start executing the RMF efficiently and effectively within the organization. The prepare step institutionalizes organization level and system level preparation to implement the RMF by facilitating communication across organizational risk management levels. It also encourages organization-wide identification of common controls and the development of organizationally tailored control baselines, reducing the complexity of IT infrastructure and providing additional methods to identify, prioritize, and focus resources on high-value assets commensurate with risk. And so these are some things we've talked about, right? These are the things where we talk about common control sets. And this used to happen later in the RMF. And really the common controls, they've got to be identified before a system owner starts implementing the RMF. The organization needs to identify those common controls early on. They also, if the organization wants to have specific tailored baselines for its systems, they have to be built before any system starts going through the RMF as well. So it's really important to draw these out, to define these as tasks within the RMF. There's other information about RMF 2.0. We talk about authorization boundaries, including guidance on authorization boundaries for complex systems and software applications. We already started talking about authorization boundaries. We know that's one of the prepared tasks. That's prepared task P11. RMF 2.0 also has types of system and control authorizations. to include incorporation of guidance about ongoing authorization, which was previously published as a white paper, and the introduction of authorization to use, which encourages reciprocity and reuse of existing authorizations. And authorization to use, we see that a lot with the implementation of FSMA or cloud-based systems. The use of automation, where feasible, is also stressed to increase speed, effectiveness, and efficiency. That's really been around since version 1, but now we're defining where it's feasible. In version 1, we talked about automation pretty much throughout the life cycle, and there's some places where we just can't automate RMF processes. And we also had to talk about system lifecycle considerations. There are 7 big improvements that you need to know that come with RMF 2.0. First, it provides closer linkage and communication between the risk management processes and activities at sea level and the individual's processes and activities at the system or operational levels. So it's really making a tighter linkage between level 1 and level 2 and those system owners at level 3. It institutionalizes critical risk management preparatory activities. And that's the things we talk about in the prepare step. And the prepare step is split into 2 parts: prepare at the organization level and prepare at the system level. It demonstrates how the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or CSF, can be aligned with the RMF and implemented using established NIST risk management processes. It integrates privacy risk management processes into the RMF to better support the privacy protection needs. And again, we stress that one a lot. It's aligning those privacy controls with information security controls. That's also reinforced in NIST Special Publication 853, Revision 5, which of course is the control catalog. It promotes the development of trustworthy, secure software and systems aligned with lifecycle-based systems engineering processes, which is defined in NIST Special Publication 800-160, Volume 1. It integrates security-related supply chain risk management, or SCRM, concepts into the RMF, and we talk about that. And again, that's another thing we see from NIST Special Publication 853, Revision 5. It was bringing those controls that are focused on supply chain risk management and creating a new family and bringing them into the control catalog. It also allows for an organization-generated control selection approach to complement the traditional baseline control selection approach and support the use of the consolidated catalog, NIST Special Publication 853, Revision 5. And again, we've been talking about that a lot. And this is that the ability for the organization to build its own control baselines, to build control baselines specific to the systems that it works with. A final change that we talk about here is in the name of the document itself. So we see in NIST Special Publication 837, Revision 1, the name is a guide for applying the risk management framework to federal information systems, a security lifecycle approach. And the big point I highlighted there is the word federal. And we see in NIST Special Publication 837, Revision 2, the title is A Risk Management Framework for Information Systems and Organizations, a System Lifecycle Approach for Security and Privacy. So again, we see the reinforcement of privacy, and we see that NIST is stressing that this is not only for federal information systems, but anyone can use this. And that includes those organizations in critical infrastructure. And I've personally seen it used in finance, automotive, and pharmaceutical organizations where they've capitalized on the risk RMF to do the same things in their organizations that you would do in a federal organization. It's the use of a process and a program that's available for free and updated frequently. So it makes sense for private sector organizations to use the RMF to secure their systems as well. So in this module, we've talked about the basics of the risk management framework and benefits of the risk management framework. We talked over the new steps in RMF 2.0. We talked about privacy and information security, how those are integrated into one process. We talked about the prepare step. We talked about additional information that comes from the implementation of RMF 2.0. Talked about the 7 improvements to the RMF. And we talked about the importance of the change in the title of the RMF, where we stressed not only is this document available for non-federal organizations, but also that privacy has been included in the process as well. If any of these don't make sense to you, I'd go back and watch the video again. See you in the next video.